What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another Tottenham update and a few interesting bits and pieces to get into today. But first and foremost, Seb Stafford-Bloor from The Athletic, I believe, he says that Tottenham have frozen their season ticket prices for next season. Tottenham have the second most expensive adult season ticket in the Premier League at £2,223, 17th last season. Looks like another relegation, well, even worse relegation battle this season. They should be giving us a bloody reduction, never mind freezing the already very expensive season ticket prices. I think it's an absolute joke, to be honest.
They should be paying us to go.
Yeah, literally.
At this point. I don't know how they can decide at the moment what the price are going to be if they don't know what division we're going to be.
Yeah, literally.
Moment in time. So look, obviously it's better than an increase, which would have been absolutely farcical if they'd announced a price increase at this stage of the season, considering how things have gone. It's more positive than that, but at the end of the day, likely to be out of Europe for next season. We don't know what division we're going to be in. We have been absolutely dreadful for the past, especially at home, for the past 18 months at the very least. So 100% it should be going down. We pay some of the highest ticket prices in the league. I understand it's a very nice stadium and everything, but there should be some goodwill from the club coming our way, because we turn up every week to watch that absolute garbage, and they aren't doing their part when it comes to improving. But at the end of the day, I guess they know, or I say they know, I was going to say they know if there's the supply demand that people will take up the tickets, but at the moment it's a lot of empty seats, so they've got to be careful at the moment.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are going to give up their season ticket at the end of this season. Look, they will be taken up, I think. You know, there was a long line of awaiting this, and that got cut dramatically over the last couple of years, which is obviously, which shows the supply and demand is going down, or the demand is going down. And wouldn't it be so nice? I wouldn't touch the club's pockets too much, but going into next season, they go, you know what, we're giving everyone £100 off their season ticket. You know, it's not going to touch their pockets too much, and that will go a long way in terms of with the fans as well. You know, £100 for a season is quite a lot of money. It'll be such a nice gesture for the club for what they've put us through over the last couple of years, or the last, I would say, ever since we were born, to be honest, but most specifically in the last couple of years. And you're looking at it, right? Like, how much are we paying per point at home, and how much are we paying per win? It's like, it's disgraceful.
Yeah, it's the highest in the league by far. Something like £80 a point or something stupid. I don't know.
It's got to be more than that.
I can't remember exactly. Or was it £800 a point? I can't remember. Something ridiculous. Anyway, someone did post it the other day. Well, without Europe, they're going to be arguing, oh, we're not going to have the European money, the revenue. We're going to need that money through the door. Blah blah blah. At the end of the day, we are probably going to pay it, but I'd like the club to show a bit of goodwill and reduce ticket prices, or maybe put maybe some games into category B or C when they were in higher categories before.
Like Newcastle at home. Newcastle at home does not need to be category A. Like, to pay £85 for South Low, which is supposed to be the cheapest seat in the house, it's just nuts.
Maybe they should put the cup games included or something.
Yeah, they took them away. They took them away.
It's nuts. So look, at least it's not an increase, but that's the bare minimum I can say about that.
I mean, I wish I could have that outlook on it, but I just think it's an abomination, the amount we pay to what we're being served up. Like, if we're in prime Pochettino era and we're playing teams off the park, I don't think too many would have a problem with paying the money. But when you're getting served up that dross and people just can't be asked to go to the stadium, and you see half-empty stadium against Newcastle, you're thinking, come on, guys, just do the right thing.
100%. They're not going to be able to fill out the seats if we keep playing this way. We've seen that this season. It'd be very interesting to see what they do if we are in the Championship, if that actually does happen. What will they do with the season ticket prices? I
already had a look at season ticket prices in the Championship, and the most expensive is Middlesbrough at about £500 a season.
So it'd be double that, over double that at the moment.
Yeah, in some cases even more, yeah. So that's the season ticket situation. In terms of a bit of transfer news, the Footy Insider are claiming that Tottenham are set to rival Chelsea for Aston Villa midfielder Morgan Rogers this summer. It's believed that Aston Villa could demand £100 million for the 23-year-old who has 13 goal involvements this season. I mean, yeah, he'll do well in the Championship, wouldn't he?
What, rival him for what? A signature? Or is it like FIFA rivals or something? What's going on? We're going to put him on Ultimate Team? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, no chance we get Morgan Rogers this summer, especially no Europe, but just no chance. No chance he comes. I understand there might be a case that he might want to leave, or if Villa... I mean, Villa are doing well, so I don't see why he'd want to leave, but obviously there's been rumours circulating around him for a while, haven't there, about his future. So maybe it's a case of his agent is trying to push for a move. He wants to go to one of the Champions League clubs, albeit they might very well be in the Champions League next season. I don't see him being in a massive rush to jump ship to Villa to come to Tottenham, that's for sure.
Yeah, but obviously we know the situation that Aston Villa are in with PSR and stuff like that. They need money. If Spurs were to put like a big bid in, and let's say we can bid more than a Chelsea, is there any sort of way that we can convince him to come to the club, let's say if we have a new manager in place?
No, I mean, I think we'll find it very difficult ahead of Chelsea.
We convinced Romero to come under Nuno.
We did, but I know he got Serie A Defender of the Year, but at the end of the day, he was coming from Atalanta. It's a much smaller team, and there was a chance for him to come to the Premier League. I know he was still a good defender, but he wasn't got maybe the status he does now. Rodgers is having a phenomenal season, known as one of the best number 10s at the moment in the league. Very versatile attacker as well. He's going to be much sought after, so convincing him to come to us is going to be a hell of a tall order. And the only thing I can think of is, could we get ahead of the competition and maybe add Bergvall and a sweetener? But whether you want to do that is another question.
All right, so that's Rodgers. I mean, even if you offer Bergvall and a sweetener, that doesn't convince him to come.
No, but maybe...
That's what I'm talking about, and being able to convince him to come.
I understand that, but maybe they reject the other bid and just accept our bid. Who knows?
Would that still convince him to sign on the dotted line for Spurs?
Unlikely.
Fabrizio Romano is talking about Vicario, and he says that Vicario is now fully open to leaving Tottenham this summer, with big interest coming from Inter Milan. Yeah, look, we know that the kind of flaws that he has in his game is probably his poorest season in the Spurs shirt this season. And yeah, I'm fully open to seeing him go as well. But that means we got to bring in a top keeper, and we got to convince a top keeper to come.
Yeah, fully open is similar to him being in goal at the moment. Our goal is fully open. That's what it feels like. But yeah, at the moment, he's not having a good season, it's fair to say. I don't think he's a bad keeper. I think he's shown since being at Tottenham he's very capable of playing in the Premier League. Definitely has flaws, and they've definitely been exposed this season. So I'd like to upgrade him if we can, but it's not a number one priority, but it definitely should be on the list.
Yeah, I mean, if he is fully open to leave and he's actively seeking out a move away, then it becomes one of our priorities.
Well, he's part of the leadership group, so I don't think he's going to be kicking up a fuss. But if he's staying, but yeah, I think I would say there's a lot of other positions we need more importantly than Vicario, but definitely he's on the list.
Yeah. Team Talk are reporting that Chelsea striker Nicholas Jackson is currently on loan at Bayern Munich, and the plan is for the player to return to Chelsea. Now, Manchester United, Newcastle, Tottenham and Aston Villa are all monitoring the situation for Nicholas Jackson. Obviously, Poch got a good tune out of him for Chelsea, scored quite a few goals for Pochettino. Would you take Jackson at Spurs?
As a backup striker,
How do you think he compares with Dom?
I think Dom's definitely got more to his game, but I do think Jackson's more of a goal threat. He's more likely to kind of run in behind, cause a lot of nuisance. His finishing's not great though, and that's something he has to work on.
Still scored a fair few goals though.
Yeah, he does, but I think it's similar to because he gets himself a lot of chances. He's not a clinical finisher, but he does get goals. I mean, not necessarily too many this season for Bayern, but when he was in the Prem, he did get goals, not like tons and tons, but double figures, like respectable amount. Still fairly young, 25, 24. So I mean, he's not young, but he's not like getting on a bit or anything. He's still at a decent age. Poch would like him. I'll definitely be open to him being back up to Dom. I think Dom's a better player, but I think over the course of a season you might get more goals out of Jackson than Dom potentially. But I think what Dom gives you as an all-round striker outweighs what Jackson gives you for sure. But I think as a backup striker, I would take him over Rishi and Moani. Yeah.
10 goals last season and 14 the year before. I mean, more than any of our strikers are pulling up, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'll take him as a backup striker. I think he's also someone who's physically very strong, robust. He presses well. So, and he's a nuisance. He is definitely a nuisance. There's one thing you definitely say about Jackson, you notice him. He's always there on the pitch.
For the good and the bad.
Yeah, for the good and the bad. But he's never like one who's going to be anonymous and you're not going to see him on the pitch kind of player.
Yeah, look, I think he's nowhere near the finished article. I think when you're looking at him as a player objectively, I think he's got the tools to be a top striker in the Premier League. I just think his game needs quite a bit of refinement to get him there, and I think he can get there. I really believe that, but just no manager has been able maybe to work with him long enough to get him there, or he hasn't had the right development to get there. But you know, if Poch is our manager and he wants to sign him, he has obviously worked with him at close quarters. So I'll be behind that.
Yeah, but as backup.
Yeah, for sure. Van de Ven has just done an interview with Sky Sports, a very short one, 1.5 minutes. I'm not sure if that's just a small snippet we saw of a longer interview or whatever, but he was sitting down with Michael Dawson talking about Frank leaving and Igor Tudor coming, and he was talking about the exit of Frank. He was saying, yeah, look, it's never nice to lose a manager that you worked with 6 months, but I mean, I compare that to the way he spoke about Ange. There was big differences there. His face wasn't glowing, let's be honest, when talking about Frank.
Or his reaction to when he said, how did you react to Ange? He's like, I couldn't believe it. Like, I got my phone was like, how can you sack a manager who won the competition? Like, he said, I was in complete shock. With Frank, he was like, yeah, you know, it's never nice when a manager has to leave and you've been working with him, and it's never great, but, you know, what I read into that, he was kind of saying, you know, it's never nice, but it kind of had to happen. That's kind of the impression I got from him.
Yeah, I guess you never know what Van de Ven's reaction would have been if Ange got sacked at the similar time to what Frank did. If the reaction would have been similar, who knows? But they did win the tournament together, and I think that's what, you know, created that bond even tighter than maybe it was done beforehand.
He just didn't seem too bothered about Frank.
No, he didn't.
To be fair, he just didn't. I mean, it's a body language thing, but he just didn't seem that bothered.
Yeah. And then he moved on. Dawson asked him about Igor Tudor, and he says this guy has just been on us from minute one. You can see he has a clear plan, and he says he's come in straight away, no holding back, and that's kind of what we need at this moment in time.
Yeah, he definitely got a bit more animated.
Yeah.
When he was talking about Tudor. He said he's very honest. He's telling out how it is. He's very clear with what he wants. All this kind of stuff. Obviously, he's not even had a game yet, so you know, at this point, when a new manager comes in, it's always very positive. Everyone's always trying to be positive, so it doesn't surprise me. But he seems to, you know, a bit more animated. He's a bit more lively talking about Tudor. So hopefully Tudor can get a bit more out of the players.
Absolutely. So big task this weekend, North London derby, and it's good. Like when these kind of initial positive reactions come, and the players are probably at their peak of kind of trying to impress the manager, with the North London derby coming up the next game.
Yeah, with Arsenal under pressure, with us being, I'm not saying it'd win and free hit situations because we are desperate for points, but the pressure is also a bit off considering we're not expected to win. And that could be a perfect kind of scenario to go out Arsenal, throw a bit of caution to the wind and actually surprise a few people.
Yeah, I think so. Arsenal are definitely a wounded animal right now. And if Spurs are on it and Spurs play to their kind of maximum capability to what we've seen this season, there's an opportunity there. I really believe that. But last but not least, there's an interesting comments from a Dutch journalist called Driesen talking about Johnny Heitinga, and obviously he was only at the club for 33 days, came in as assistant to Frank, and then he was out the door 33 days later. But he says, if you read this statement, he could have stayed, and of course he was still there. He said that the manager had been fired last week, and John could have stayed. He had hoped to become interim for the rest of the season. Then he heard that Igor Tudor was coming. Then they sat down together and he thought, I don't see any future here because next season there'll be a whole new staff, new manager, and he'll bring his own people with him. And he probably didn't want to work under Tudor, after which he said, I'm closing the door behind me. So, I mean, he wanted the interim role. He thought he was going to get the interim role.
Sounds like he wasn't sacked. Sounds like he resigned.
That's what it sounds like, yeah.
Yeah, that's what that's implying, which makes sense, to be fair, because he's come in as Frank's number two. Frank's gone, and they're not keeping him as interim, and he's already brought in another assistant?
Yeah.
So, from Heitinga's point of view, it's like, well, if I'm, you know, I've already got a different head coach who's not the one who brought me in. He's already brought in another assistant head coach, this other guy, the new guy. So he doesn't really want my opinion. He's going to go to his assistant. Next season, they're going to bring a new manager, so he's probably going to want his new head coach, assistant coach. So where does that leave me? So I think it makes sense for him to just go, you know what, this is an absolute mess. I can't believe I was even here for a month. I'm out of here. This is a nut house. So it doesn't surprise me. Obviously, it again speaks to the incompetence of the hierarchy, that how awful it looks that we've given Frank a new assistant manager, and then a month later decided, actually, Frank, you're gone. You're not doing a good enough job. It just seems like a ridiculous situation that we've left ourselves in, and it's led to this embarrassing situation where Heitinga's only lasted a month. We'll never get to know what could have happened with him, but he seems like a talented assistant, but not really one you trust to be your interim, because Ajax didn't do too well.
To be fair, though, like, he had an interim before his full-time role at Ajax, and he did very well in that interim role.
Yeah, but his last role didn't do too well as full-time manager, so I guess but based off that, you don't want to. You look at that and think, yeah, I don't know if we want to do that. So I can understand the club's hesitancy, but yeah, I think. Do you think he's saying he hoped to be interim and he came into the job with the knowing that was a possibility, or? I
think the way he just looked at it, he came into work under Thomas Frank. He came in saying, I know full well the situation I'm coming into at the club. I guarantee you he did not know full well the situation coming into the club. And maybe he did know the situation full well, and he was coming in maybe thinking, well, if Frank gets sacked here, I'm next in line.
Yeah, must have. And then they didn't realise, actually, no, you're not.
Yeah, basically.
And, we're going to bring another assistant. So he's found himself kind of surplus to requirements very quickly. At Tottenham. But I wonder what those conversations with Frank early on, Frank must have been telling him, I've got, I know we're under pressure now, but Vina and Lange, they're good mates, they're going to be backing me, don't worry, I'm here to stay. And then obviously the Lewis family had to step in, didn't they? So
yeah,
it's a whole mess. The Heitinga situation is evidence for all to see how poorly the decision making of the top has been in this whole scenario. And we just got to hope and pray the decision making gets better, but there's no evidence that it will.
Yeah, absolutely. I think first and foremost, you get Vina and Lange out of the club, and then we can move forward from there. Because until they're gone, there's nothing's going to improve. That's the reality.
How can we trust another 10-point process from Vina after the last one? I don't understand what the thinking of.
There's no 10-point process. It's going to be the Lewis family being like, oh, that Pochettino did well here. Let's get him.
That's it. That's the next thing. And Vina can't be part of that discussion. We can't.
How mad is it that vibes of people that don't know about football is going to be a better appointment than a whole 10-point process plan?
Honestly, the whole thing is absolute gut.
That shows you how bad they are.
And at the end of the day, they were overruled, so their opinion clearly can't be trusted. So they got to go. They have to go, and I reckon it'll be announced end of the season.
Do you think? Yeah.
Yeah.
I really hope so. Do you bring both of them, or just?
I think they're both gone.
They gotta be. But that is your Tottenham update for today. North London derby content coming your way tomorrow, so keep your eyes peeled for that. But thank you everyone for joining us today. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.